Welcome to the InGuardians series of podcasts or webinars. Today we are hosting Adam Crompton, our senior security consultant, who has developed an interesting command and control as well as account harvesting tool using your clipboard for all sorts of fun and games, especially on red team operations. I'll welcome Adam. Take it away.
Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. Yeah, today's title of the webinar is All Your Copy and Paste Belongs to Us. And to basically go into some of the content that you're going to be provided today, we'll be talking about what stemmed this project. So, you know, what type of things made this project come to be. Also, what is the invoke clipboard and where is this useful? And also a location of where you can find the code and utilize it for your red team operations or blue team operations. Also, there's a disclaimer. The presentation is basically recorded demos throughout the slides, but the Q&A session will be live demos based on your questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the question location on the GoToWebinar, and we will definitely do a demo of whatever you're trying to look for out of this tool. All right, so what stemmed this project? Basically, we have, at InGuardians, we have a lot of clients that basically, after a period of time of us providing recommendations and giving them, you know, security architecture reviews, purple teams, red teams, and more of the gamut of services that we provide them, over time, it starts to become a little bit more difficult based on, you know, network isolation or having certain environments in separate AD forests, two-factor VPN, and also we came across one of our clients that was pretty locked down, and basically they had a two-factor VPN, and they were using two-factor RDP using Duo to the jump server. So, and we'll talk about that later on. So just to give a background on what Invoke Clipboard is, it's basically a weaponized PowerShell tool, pretty much geared around the clipboard. So if you think about it, there's kind of two methods that this script provides. One is the actual logger piece, which is basically the harvester, and the other is the command and control, one being the client and one being the victim that you would implant on the victim server. So with the key, the logger piece, this is basically where the attacker basically implants the script on the victim machine to then start harvesting the clipboard buffer from the victim. So attacker implants invoke clipboard logger to the victim, and basically the victim basically sends back the clipboard data every time it changes. So whenever the interval happens to where somebody goes and copies something, it would basically send those, you know, Unicode or ASCII characters back to the attacker, in which would basically have that data back to the attacker. So one of the biggest usefulness of this, which a lot of our red teams pretty much we use this on mostly all of our red teams at this point, because it provides so much information around profiling a target. So a lot of the times we like to use kind of like, I call it the trifecta, where you have the key logger, the clipboard logger, and active screenshots for the targeted machine that you're sitting on to profile that user and his daily activities once you're on a targeted machine that you have access to. The reason why the clipboard is very useful is sometimes it's provides password safes, which have credentials in them. So like things like KeyPass and some of the password safes out there, once you copy and paste that, it basically sends those credentials back to the red team operator, which can use that to log into whatever you're logging into. Also, we've seen a lot of cases where sensitive data has been copied and pasted from one, you know, Excel document to the other, and we'll get that live Excel comma delimited data back to our command and control C2. So a lot of the cases for the clipboard piece, using that trifecta from the keylogger, which he adds his credentials in from the screenshots, you can gain a profile of, what applications he's using and also what he does on a daily basis. And then from a clipboard logger piece, some of the things that have been used, like password safes and things that don't provide clear text password from the GUI, you can obtain those passwords via the clipboard. So we're going to do a demo here. This one is recorded, and basically it's using it's basically the invoke clipboard logger, and it's going to be pulling the passwords out of a password safe from KeePass database. So just to give some background, the left-hand side is the Cobalt Strike, pretty much commercial product written by Raphael Mudge, and basically that is our command and control currently, and we're using this to import our clipboard logger inside of the command and control to harvest the credentials from the victim machine that you can see on the right-hand side. So as you can see, the sleep is just basically the beacon duration to make it more interactive for the demo. But the PowerShell import is basically importing that script into the victim machine in order to invoke the clipboard logger piece. So we're going to use a command called powerpick, written by Lee Christensen, which uses unmanaged code in order to run PowerShell scripts on the victim side. So as you can see, the clipboard logger is running. The user goes and basically opens up the KeePass executable, types in his password, hits enter, and copies that secure credential to his clipboard to then log into an application or a RDP service or whatever. So as you can see, we were able to capture that password, which is password 21, which matches that password 21 @ over here. All right, so kind of the next step here is with the logger piece, we know that we can actually sit on a target and harvest credentials, sensitive data, things of that nature. Another thing that we utilize this tool for is for the command and control piece. So basically, we have an attacker that basically utilizes this tool and sends a command over the clipboard. And the way that invoke clipboard C2C is, which is the client, the two tasks that it has the ability to do is basically send the command to the clipboard and wait for a response. And once the victim is, finished its process, it sends that request back, and the attacker receives the results from the command from the clipboard, which is that command and control back and forth. The clipboard C2V is basically the victim side. So basically, when the attacker sends a command, it executes the command on the victim side, sends the output to the attacker, and the attacker receives results on the other side. And this is invoke clipboard C2 demo. So as you can see, this is the same setup that was there before. We are currently going to initiate our RDP service session from the main system that we have access to, the victim PC, over to another system that is more of the inside of the controlled environment, more secure environment that they lock down. So we're logged in. We basically try to implant the actual invoke clipboard C2 inside of the victim. So we type PowerShell import module, invoke clipboard 2, and basically implant the victim. And then in our beacon, we want to import that script, the invoke clipboard, and then basically use PowerPick to run that script, in which the kind of parameter that uses is a dash message and whatever the string value is that you want to have that command be. And once that's run, you get the command back from the RDP session through the clipboard back to the command and control on the other end. So we can see that there's other things that we can run, like ls for directory listing. PS drive to get the list of drives on the host. Hostname to get the host name of the device. ipconfig, and I want to stop that video there. So we can notice that in the RDP session, we notice that there is a no default gateway. So we know that there's no other option for it to go out of another channel or go through a gateway in order to get out to the internet to RC2. The other piece is we notice that the IP address is 238, and if we were to utilize the shell host name, which is virus PC, we noticed that on the actual, on this side here, we noticed that the IP address is 101. So it's a different host, and the command and control is definitely going through a gateway out to a DigitalOcean droplet that we have. So, all right. So the next facet is, I wanted to kind of show a little bit of the code and what the code pretty much provides you. So the main DLL that uses the clipboard is the user32 DLL. So the way that we kind of import that DLL into PowerShell is we write a bit of C# to take the DLL import, take the actual user32 DLL, and then basically use that to pull out the functions from the DLL to utilize that in PowerShell. So this is basically the way that you can do it. There's other ways that you can do it also, but this is one way. So the import DLL function here basically takes that blob, that string blob here, and basically creates a type. The name is Adam Me Pwn Sauce, and then basically it's written in C#.
Adam, we have a couple of questions, and I think now would be a great time for to address at least one of them. Okay. One of them was there a reason why this was written in PowerShell instead of C#? Just curious, as most tools have been moving to C# over PowerShell. And then the second one is, does this work with KeePass's secure copy feature?
Secure copy. I have not tested the secure copy feature, but I can try to test that and respond back with the results of that. The reason, and the reason why it's written in PowerShell is because we've been using this tool for a long time and we haven't ported it over to C# just yet, but it's on the list of things and to move toward outside of using PowerShell. So that was a great question there. We've just been using this tool for a long time and it's been written in PowerShell. We just need to port it over to C#. So,
thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Mike. All right, so the next function is to push to the clipboard. And basically, this is using the push_cd function. And basically, what it's doing is taking a string and creating a HGlobal Unicode value from that string. And then basically opening up the clipboard, setting the value to pointer 0, and then emptying the clipboard, setting the clipboard. That 13 there is for the clipboard to recognize that it's a Unicode characters. So then it sets the clipboard with that Unicode character and then closes the clipboard after. So this one is to actually get the clipboard. So as we can see, code text uni is taking the string value and using that 13 as the Unicode value. And this is basically doing open clipboard, setting the pointer to 0, and then getting the Unicode value again of that text file, of that text piece, and pulling the clipboard data using the Unicode values, and then basically setting the string uni, and then providing the string uni piece back to the code basically, and closing the clipboard, because you don't want to have a open clipboard and not closing the clipboard. So you have to kind of, once you open the clipboard, do your operations, and then close the clipboard, and then return the value. So this is the invoke clipboard piece. This is basically importing the DLLs, just like we saw in the previous piece here, using the user32 DLLs. And I wanted to provide some type of daily min and max so that you can not have the same kind of duration of pulling the request over a bit of time. So you can set a delay, but normally for the logger piece, I normally keep that at a set value of 1 and 2, so that it's either 1 or 2 of that duration. Because as soon as someone clips it to the clipboard, you want to kind of grab that data as quickly as possible from that victim. So the invoke clipboard command and control client piece is basically it imports the DLLs again and grabs the original clipboard data, because if the value, so let's say that you copy a password and you want to actually go and put it in an application, but my clipboard piece takes your clipboard that you just copied the password from, tests it and says, can I run this on the destination host and provide the results back? Well, if that fails, we want to basically take that password and set it back to what it was, because the only place that we want to have the user see the command and control happening is when he's clipboard, and that process of him copying that password and basically putting it into another application, it should still work, right? You don't want to have a random ipconfig output coming out on your password screen, right? So basically, we save kind of like the original state of the clipboard buffer, and basically run the commands, do it as quickly as possible, and then basically set it back to what it was before. So that's basically what this is doing. The command and control victim side is basically grabbing the request and executing it. And once it executes, it sends it right back over and then pushes the older clipboard buffer back to the clipboard buffer for the old value. So this is basically where the tool lives. This is the location of where the tool lives. It's on GitHub and Guardian's invoke clipboard. So if you want to go down there and download it, or even pull it down and use it, that's great. If you want to contribute to it too, feel free to send a push request or a pull request, and we can work that out. So there's some other features that I want to add to this. Currently, right now, it's a single session kind of thing, to where if you run this on one system and try to run it on another, it's going to try to run the same commands on both and send back the clipboard buffer on both. So personally, it's very easy to get this done, and I'm currently working on it anyway. But the multi-session based off of a key, so for a specific device. So let's say you have a key that's unique for one device and a key unique for a different device. You're able to kind of send that command and control through Clipboard for multiple devices in the network as you pivot through the network. The encryption piece is pretty much done, but it's not in the current code right now. Just want to clean it up before I push it out. But basically, it's going to encrypt the actual clipboard when the command and control is happening, so that if something gets lost or if somebody captures that data, it's just a randomized base64 string that's there that they cannot look at, so which is encrypted. The other piece is having multiple different types of copy and paste types. So the one type that we've been using for this whole demo and this tool has been kind of the Unicode text-based orientation of the copy and paste functionality in Windows. I'm looking toward more of a image-based also, so that we can do a little bit more steganography and have some of the command and control within an image, so that when you're sending it through the clipboard, it's a one-by-one image, but all the code that's in there is using steganography, so hiding the actual command and control like data inside of the image in the background. So if they get it, it's a one-by-one image, but they have no clue what it's doing. So. And if you guys have any requests, definitely send that over to the GitHub repo, and we'll be more than happy to kind of prioritize based on what's important and move from there. So, any questions slash demos you guys are coming up against where I'm not able to clip in here, but are we able to steal the credentials from this? Like one of the questions that was asked before. Definitely send an email out to me, and I'll definitely respond back to you guys. My email is just adam@guardians.com, and my Twitter handle is encoder. So thank you for your time, and I'm going to pass it back to Mike to finish off the webinar.
Well, thank you so much, Adam. Just a quick little plug. We have weekly executive briefings that we send out in an email newsletter. Please check it out at inguardians.com/brief. We promise that it'll be less than 5 minutes to read, be on one topic, and provide you with some recommendations and additional links for exploring the issues further. This is essentially what our team decides kind of, what's important this week, to focus on, whether it be a current event or a specific topic, and we'll take it from there. On the next slide here, we've got our upcoming webinars. We're doing a webinar each month. This is our second webinar, so thank you so much for attending. If you liked it, please kind of share, spread the news. We can certainly use all the help we can get. And if you have any advice or any kind of suggestions for us, please send them in to us. But next month, we've got Hacking and Defending Kubernetes, which is pretty cool. We also have a couple upcoming sessions at RSA where Jay Beal and Adam Crompton are going to be one presenting at RSA, as well as Jay is going to be giving a quick kind of overview talk during RSA. So if you're going to RSA, check those out as well. Thank you so much for joining us on our webinar series. And thank you, Adam, for putting together a great presentation and really, really fun live kind of demo Q&A session at the end of that. Definitely appreciate everyone's questions. And we'll see you on the next one. Make sure you sign up.